In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this boo-boo with V-neck and side pockets. If you are interested in it, kindly watch till the end. I used 2 yards of Ankara fabric for these tutorials. First thing I'm going to be doing is to measure the length of my fabric, which is 40, and the width of this fabric is 18 inches. Next thing I'll be doing from here is to mark my neck depth. So I'm using 9 inches. You can use from 9 to about 11 inches depending on how deep you want the neck to be. Next thing I did was to re-measure it because I realized the 9 was a bit shorter, so I used 10 instead of 9 inches. So that is what I'm marking over there. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark the width of my neck, which is 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches. So the neck depth is 10 inches and the width is 3.5 inches. Next thing I'm going to be doing is connect from that point to the depth using my ruler. But before that, I marked 1.5 inches in at the center front. Note we are working on the front. So I marked 1.5 inches in, and then I'll be connecting the point together with my straight ruler. I'll be explaining this part to you later in the video. So because the fabric has many colors, it's making it difficult for my chalk to be seen, but then I'm trying my best to make it seen. So after connecting the 1.5 inches together, I'll be connecting from that point to meet the 10 inches point. So after connecting everything together, you should be getting a line like this from the neck area to the hem of the dress. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to come down by 1 inch. This is for the shoulder slant. Note you can come down from ½ inch to about 2.5 inches depending on how you want the slant to be. So I just marked 1 inch and then I'm connecting it to the neck area. From there, I'll go ahead and mark the size of my sleeve. So I'm using 10 inches as the size of my sleeve. So that is what I just marked over there. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to divide my hip by 4. So the hip measurement I'm using is 12.5 inches. That is 50 divided by 4. So that is what I'm marking down over there. So after marking the 12.5 or your hip divided by 4, you can add from 3 inches to about 6 inches depending on how big you want your boo-boo to be. Kindly take note of the tape measure placement. You realize I started from the center front, not after the 1 inch. So I added 3.5 inches to my 12.5 and I had 16 inches. So in total from the center, I marked 16 inches in. After that, I'll go ahead and connect the points together with my long ruler. So I'll be creating a pocket on this boo-boo. So after creating my armhole, we'll go ahead and then work on the pocket. So at that point, you can come down by 1 inch and then draw a curve to meet the end of the fabric. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to measure my shoulder to waist measurement. So my shoulder to waist measurement is 18 inches. So I marked 18.5 inches. Then I added 5 inches to it. And from that point, I'll be putting in or marking my pocket size. So just place your hand on top of it like I have done to measure the size of your hand and then mark. So I came down by 6 inches from that point down. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to fold the other half of the fabric into 2 and then place the first one on top of it. That is the one we are using as the front. So I'm going to be cutting out the shape of the sleeve and then the size of the pockets and then the side of the dress. So that is what I'm doing at the moment. So after cutting the shoulder, I'll go ahead and cut from that point through to that point, skip the pocket, and then cut the rest. So watch how I'm cutting it out to see how exactly you are going to be cutting it. So when I got to this point, I was supposed to add ½ inch to the size of the pocket before cutting, but then I forgot or it skipped me. So I added that ½ inch at the upper part instead, because I'll be stitching ½ inch on the side, but this won't affect my work in any way. But then take note of that when you are cutting out. So this is what I have after cutting out the shape of my boo-boo. Like I said, take note of how the boo-boo was cut out. So the shoulder, the sleeve, the pockets, take note of all that before you cut out. So at this point, I'll pick the front from the back, and then after working on the front, I'll go ahead and work on the back. So remember, I took 1.5 inches from the front. The size of this is 2.5 inches. So I took 1.5 inches, and then the size of this black fabric is 2.5 inches. The reason is if I stitch ½ inch from the front and I stitch ½ inch from the black fabric, I'll be left with 2 inches. That is the main reason why I took 1.5 inches. In case you want the size to be 2.5, you are going to be taking 2 inches from the front, and then you are going to be cutting the black. The size of the black will be 3 inches. So you have to calculate that before you can fix it on your boo-boo to get the perfect size you are working on. So when I got to the 10 inches point, I made a notch, or I snipped that particular point, so that when I'm fixing my black fabric for the v-neck, I would know exactly where I'm stopping. So this is the back. The width of the back is 3.5 inches, just like the front, and then the depth is about 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches. You can also use 1 inch. It will still come out nice, but I'll recommend 1.25 or 1.5 inch. So the size of the pocket looks small over there, the length of the pocket. So I went ahead to cut out pieces of fabric from the remaining fabric, and then I'm joining it at that particular point, or where the pocket is supposed to be, to make it longer. So after joining, I went ahead to stitch ½ inch on both sides. So you are fixing the pockets on both front and then back. Next, I went ahead to open the back, and I'm going to be placing the front on top of it this way, and then I'll go ahead and stitch ½ inch on the shoulder. So after placing it together, take it to your machine and stitch ½ inch. After stitching mine ½ inch, this is what I have. Next thing I'll be doing is to stitch the side from this point through to the pockets and then to the hem. Take note of that. So before I stitch the side, I'll be adding another black fabric to that area. So open up the sleeve this way. The size of this is 2 inches. I'll be stitching half, so at the end of the day I'll be getting 1.5 inches after stitching. Note the fabric is folded into 2, so the width of the fabric is 4 inches folded into 2. That's why I have 2 inches. So I'll be stitching ½ inch on that side, and after that I went ahead to join the sides like I showed you earlier. So after fixing the black on the sleeve, you go ahead and stitch the side. Next thing I'll be doing is to work on the center front. So I'm going to be measuring the center front to see how long I'll be cutting my black fabric for the design at the front and then the V-neck as well. So I'm measuring it at this point. So this is the length I have, 60 plus 32 inches, making 92 inches in total. So this fabric is folded into two. Like I said, this is 2.5 inches, and then when you open it up, it is 5 inches. So just like I said, it's the one for the sleeve is folded into two. I didn't show that part, that is why I'm using this as an example. So after that, next thing I'm going to be doing is to measure from the center of the back, one side of it, to where there is a snip, or I'll go ahead and measure from one snip to the other so that I know the size of my V-neck. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm measuring from one snip to the other. Remember, I came down by 10 inches. So from that 10 inches point through to the back and then to the other 10 inches point at the other side of the front. So this is my fabric. I joined it because my fabric wasn't big enough. So the joining part automatically becomes the center back. So I'll go ahead and then mark the size of the back neckline and then the front down. So after measuring, I had about 15 inches. That is what I am marking down over there. So that is 15 inches. So from that 15 inches point, I'm going to be sewing from that point through to the lower part. After stitching, this is what I have. All you have to do is to open it up this way and then flip it on top of the other, and you are going to be getting something like this. So this is what will be fixed on the front. Take note of that. So this is what I'll be fixing on the front after getting my neck size. So next thing I'll be doing is to pick my boo-boo, and then I'm going to start pinning from the center back. So just place it on top of it this way and start pinning. So take note of how I'm pinning it together. So I went to pick my pin. So from the center of the black fabric, that is the center back, I'll go ahead and then pin it to the center of the boo-boo. So this is how it goes. Take your time and pin it, making sure you are pinning the center part, the front part of the boo-boo down. So you are pinning the right side, the right side of the boo-boo. So let's say right side joining each other, even though the black is clean on both sides, but then make sure you are pinning the right side of the boo-boo to this. So I have a tutorial on how to fix only the neckline on my channel. So in case this is not so clear to you, I have a detailed video on how to create this particular V-neck on my channel. So you go ahead and watch it for better understanding, just in case you don't understand this well. So I went ahead to pin every part together, and I'll take it to my machine and stitch 1/2 inch all round. After stitching this particular part, next thing you are going to be doing is to fold the hem of your dress, and that will be all for the tutorials. So this is what you are going to be getting after pinning it down. So just take it to your machine and stitch 1/2 inch all round, like I said, 1/2 inch all round. After stitching, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and then fold my hem, and that will be all. Make sure you finish or overlock the edges to get a nice finished work. So after stitching, I'm turning it out at this point for you to see what I have, and you can see it looks nice and neat. So just go ahead and fold your hem, and that will be all for this tutorials. Don't forget to like, comment and share my videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you'll be notified anytime I post my videos. See you another time. Bye.